I was sitting on the hotel bed in my robe, scrolling through last-minute wedding details, when my phone buzzed. An airdrop notification popped up from someone nearby. I almost declined it, thinking it was a random spam thing, but something made me accept. The video loaded. My stomach dropped instantly. It was Daniel, my fiancé, in a hotel elevator. His hands were tangled in someone's hair, kissing them hard against the mirrored wall. The elevator numbers climbed in the corner, 3, 4, 5. Then the camera angle shifted slightly, and I saw her face. Vanessa, my maid of honor, my college roommate, the woman who helped me pick out my dress. I replayed it 3 times, my hands shaking so hard I almost dropped my phone. The timestamp read 11:47 p.m., less than 2 hours ago. My chest felt tight, my vision blurred. This couldn't be real. Another notification appeared. Accept airdrop from iPhone. Someone was sending me more. I accepted the second video. This one was longer, taken from further down the hallway. Daniel and Vanessa stumbled out of the elevator, laughing, her heels in her hand. His arm was around her waist. Hers was around his neck. They stopped at a door. She fumbled with a key card. He kissed her neck while she tried to get it to work. When the door finally opened, they practically fell inside, and it slammed shut behind them. The timestamp, 11:53 p.m. I sat frozen, staring at the screen. My wedding was in 14 hours. My dress was hanging on the closet door. My something blue was sitting on the nightstand. And my fiancé had just spent the night with my best friend. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from an unknown number. You need to know the truth. I stared at those 6 words, my heart pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. I texted back immediately. Who is this? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, it's Becca. I'm so sorry. I didn't know if I should tell you, but I couldn't let you walk down that aisle without knowing. Becca, one of my bridesmaids. Quiet, sweet Becca who always sat in the corner at parties and never caused drama. You recorded this, I typed. I was coming back from the ice machine. I saw them get in the elevator and something felt wrong. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to ruin your night, but you deserve better than this. My throat burned. I wanted to scream, cry, throw my phone across the room. Instead, I took a deep breath and typed, "Thank you for telling me." Her response came quickly. "There's something else you should know. I don't think this was the first time." I couldn't stay in that room. The walls felt like they were closing in. I threw on sweatpants and a hoodie and took the elevator downstairs, my mind racing with everything Becca had just told me. The hotel lobby was quiet, just a few guests checking in late. I walked up to the front desk where a middle-aged man in a suit jacket was typing on a computer. "Excuse me," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "I'm getting married here tomorrow, room 804. I think my fiancé checked in earlier tonight, and I just wanted to confirm his room number." The manager looked up, smiled politely. "Of course, let me just—" He typed something, then paused. "Ah yes, Mr. Hayes arrived around 10:30 with a friend. They went up to room 612. My heart stopped. 612. "Yes, ma'am. Is there a problem?" I forced a smile. "No, thank you." Room 612. Vanessa's room. I stood in front of room 612 for what felt like forever. My hand was raised, ready to knock. I could hear voices inside, muffled laughter, the sound of a TV playing low. Every part of me wanted to bang on that door, to scream, to make them face what they'd done. But something stopped me. If I confronted them now, they'd have time to come up with a story. They'd gaslight me, tell me I was overreacting, that it wasn't what it looked like. They'd beg for forgiveness and expect me to sweep it under the rug for the sake of the wedding. And everyone would pressure me to forgive him, to not cause a scene, to think about all the money spent, all the guests flying in. No, I wasn't giving them that chance. I lowered my hand and walked back to the elevator, my mind suddenly crystal clear. I wasn't going to confront them. I was going to destroy them. I barely slept. By 7 a.m., I was staring at the ceiling when my phone buzzed with a text from Daniel. "Good morning, beautiful. I can't believe we're getting married today. I barely slept, I'm so excited. Love you so much." I read it twice, my jaw clenched so tight it hurt. Another text. "I crashed early last night, I was so exhausted from the rehearsal. Hope you got some rest too." Liar. I started typing a response, something neutral, when another message popped up. But this one wasn't to me. It was a group text, and I was accidentally included. "Make sure nobody saw us. Delete everything." The recipient, Vanessa. I screenshotted it immediately. Daniel realized his mistake within seconds. The message disappeared from the thread, but I'd already saved it. My phone started ringing. Daniel's name flashed on the screen. I didn't answer. He called again and again. Then Vanessa started calling. Over and over, back to back, her name lighting up my screen like a warning signal. I silenced my phone and set it face down on the bed. My hands were shaking, but not from sadness anymore. From rage. A text from Vanessa finally came through. "Hey babe, so excited for today. Can we talk for a sec? Want to go over the maid of honor speech timing?" I stared at her message. The audacity, the absolute audacity to pretend nothing happened. I typed back, "Sure, meet me in the bridal suite in 20. Her response was instant. "Perfect, see you soon." I smiled. She had no idea what was coming. Vanessa showed up exactly 20 minutes later, looking flawless in yoga pants and a sweatshirt, her hair in a messy bun. She gave me a huge hug when she walked in, and I forced myself not to pull away. "Oh my God, you're getting married today," she squealed, squeezing my hands. "How are you feeling? Nervous?" "A little," I said carefully, watching her face. "Didn't sleep much." "Same," she said quickly. "I was up late helping Daniel with something. He was kind of drunk after the rehearsal dinner, so I made sure he got back to his room okay. Didn't want him doing anything stupid the night before his wedding, you know." I nodded slowly. "That was really nice of you." "Of course, that's what best friends do." She smiled brightly, but I noticed something. When she mentioned helping Daniel, she touched her neck. A nervous tick I'd seen 100 times before. Then she said, "He was a mess. Took forever to get him into the elevator." I froze. The elevator. How did she know he needed help in the elevator if she was just making sure he got to his room? I kept my face neutral and changed the subject quickly. Vanessa didn't seem to notice her slip. She kept chattering about wedding details, about her speech, about how perfect everything was going to be. After she left, I went downstairs to grab coffee. That's when I ran into Kyle, Daniel's best man. He was slouched in a lobby chair, sunglasses on indoors, looking like death. "Rough night?" I asked. He groaned. "Your fiancé is an animal. I don't know how he's going to function today." I sat down across from him. "What do you mean?" Kyle laughed, rubbing his face. "Just saying, the guy's been acting single all week. Bachelor party, rehearsal dinner last night. I was honestly surprised he kept it together." My stomach twisted. "Last night?" "Yeah, after you went upstairs. He was all over some girl at the hotel bar." Kyle paused, squinting at me. "Wait, she kind of looked like your maid of honor, actually." I excused myself and went back upstairs, my chest tight. Back in the bridal suite, I found my makeup artist setting up her station. Her name was Corey, a sweet woman in her 40s who'd done makeup for half the weddings at this hotel. "Big day," she said cheerfully, gesturing for me to sit. "You ready?" "Getting there," I said, forcing a smile. As she started on my foundation, she hesitated. "Can I tell you something? And please don't think I'm overstepping." I looked at her in the mirror. "What is it?" She bit her lip. "I did the makeup for your rehearsal dinner a few weeks ago, remember? And I saw your fiancé and your maid of honor in the hallway outside the venue. They were standing really close. Too close. I didn't think much of it at the time, but—" "When was this?" I asked quietly. "March 14th. I remember because it was my daughter's birthday." March 14th. The night Daniel told me he had to work late on a big project. After Corey left to grab more brushes, I walked over to the closet where Daniel's suit was hanging. I don't know what made me check the pockets, but I did. In the inner pocket of his jacket, I found a receipt. It was from the hotel bar, time-stamped 11:32 p.m. last night. 2 glasses of champagne, $48. I held the receipt in my hand, staring at the numbers. Then I smelled it. Perfume, faint but unmistakable. The same perfume Vanessa wore every single day. A custom blend she'd bragged about getting made in Paris. I brought the jacket to my nose and inhaled. It was everywhere. On the collar, on the sleeves. My hands started shaking again, but this time it wasn't rage. It was clarity. I had everything I needed. Daniel texted me around noon. "Hey, I know we're not supposed to see each other, but can we talk for a second? I'm feeling weird." I stared at the message. He was sensing something was off. Maybe Vanessa had told him I seemed distant. Maybe he just had a guilty conscience. I walked down to his suite and knocked. He opened the door in his tux pants and an undershirt, his hair still messy. "Hey," he said, pulling me inside. "You okay? You seem, I don't know, off." "I'm fine," I said, "just nervous." "Don't be nervous." He cupped my face, looking into my eyes. "This is going to be the best day of our lives. I love you so much. You know that, right?" I nodded, my throat tight. "Don't ruin our day because you're anxious," he said softly. "Everything is perfect." I reached into my pocket and hit record on my phone. "You're right," I said. "Everything is perfect." I found Becca in the hallway outside the bridal suite. She was carrying a garment bag and looked startled when she saw me. "Hey," I said quietly, "can we talk?" We stepped into an empty conference room. I closed the door behind us. "I need to ask you something," I said, "and I need you to be completely honest with me." Becca nodded, her eyes wide. "How long has this been going on?" She hesitated, then pulled out her phone. "I wasn't sure if I should show you this, but there's another video." She handed me her phone. The video was from last night after they went into the room. The door was cracked open slightly and you could hear them inside, laughing, talking. Then Vanessa's voice, clear as day, "I can't believe we're doing this again." Again. I looked at Becca. "Can I use this?" She nodded. "Do whatever you need to do." I went back downstairs to find the hotel manager. He was at the front desk, reviewing some paperwork. "Excuse me," I said. "I have kind of a strange request. Last night, I think someone may have taken something from the lobby area. Is there any way I could review the security footage?" He frowned. "What time frame are we looking at?" "Around 11:30 p.m. to midnight." He nodded slowly. "Let me see what I can pull up. Give me about 10 minutes. I waited in the lobby, my heart pounding. 15 minutes later, he called me back to his office. "I found the footage you're looking for," he said, turning his monitor toward me. "But I have to warn you, you're going to want to see this." He pressed play. The security footage was crystal clear, black and white, but clear. 11:34 p.m. Daniel and Vanessa entering the lobby, holding hands. 11:36 p.m. Standing at the elevator, his arm around her waist. 11:38 p.m. Inside the elevator, kissing against the wall. 11:42 p.m. Stumbling into the hallway, laughing. The manager paused the video and looked at me. His expression was careful, professional, but I could see the sympathy in his eyes. "I'm getting married here in 3 hours," I said quietly. He nodded. "I'm very sorry. Would you like me to email this to you?" "Yes, please." He typed something, clicked a few buttons. "It's sent, and for what it's worth, I have 3 daughters. I'd want them to know." I thanked him and walked out of his office, the email notification already lighting up my phone. I had everything. I was walking back to the bridal suite when Vanessa appeared out of nowhere, grabbing my arm. "Hey, can we talk?" she asked, her voice urgent. I turned to look at her. She looked nervous, really nervous. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Nothing, She glanced around, then lowered her voice. I feel like you're upset with me. Did I do something? I stared at her. Why would I be upset? I don't know, you just seem different today. I just want to make sure we're good. Because you're my best friend and I love you and I'd never do anything to hurt you. Her voice cracked on that last part. I know Daniel and I were hanging out last night, but it wasn't like that, she continued quickly. He was drunk, and I was just making sure he didn't do anything stupid. You know how he gets. I didn't want him to ruin your big day. Right, I said slowly. So he started it. She froze. What? You said you were making sure he didn't do anything stupid. So he was the one being inappropriate. Her face went pale. I know I didn't mean. It's fine, I said, cutting her off. I'm not mad. Relief flooded her face. Oh, thank God, I was so worried. I smiled. Everything's perfect. I went back to the bridal suite and told everyone I needed a moment alone. Corey had finished my makeup. My hair was done. My dress was on. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked beautiful. I looked like a bride. I pulled out my phone and opened the folder where I'd saved everything. The videos, the screenshots, the hotel footage, the receipt. Then I opened my laptop and created a new slideshow. Our wedding coordinator had asked us to put together a memory montage to play during the reception. Sweet photos of us over the years set to a romantic song. I deleted every single photo, and I replaced them with everything I had. When I was done, I saved it to a flash drive and walked downstairs to find the tech team. Here's the slideshow, I said, handing it to the AV guy. Can you load it up? He nodded. When do you want it to play? During the ceremony, I said, right before the vows. I stood at the back of the aisle, holding my bouquet. The string quartet was playing. 200 people were seated, waiting. My father stood next to me, offering his arm. You ready, sweetheart? I nodded. I'm ready. The doors opened. Everyone stood. The music shifted to the bridal march. I started walking. Daniel was at the end of the aisle, standing under the floral arch we'd picked out together. He was smiling so wide, his eyes shining with tears. Vanessa stood to the left in her dusty rose dress, holding her bouquet, beaming at me. I walked slowly, taking in every face. Daniel's parents, my parents, our friends, Corey standing in the back with her camera. When I reached the altar, Daniel took my hands. He was crying. You look so beautiful, he whispered. I smiled. The officiant began talking, but I barely heard the words. My heart was pounding so loud I thought everyone could hear it. I glanced to my left. Becca stood at the end of the bridesmaid line, her phone in her hand. She gave me a tiny nod. I looked back at Daniel. He was gazing at me like I was the only person in the room. Before we begin the vows, the officiant said, the bride has prepared a special presentation. Daniel looked confused. I'd never mentioned a presentation. Actually, I said, stepping up to the microphone, before I promise my life to someone, I think everyone here deserves to see what he promised someone else last night. The room went silent. Daniel's face went pale. What? I turned to Becca. Now. She nodded. The lights dimmed. And the screen behind us turned on. The first video played. Daniel and Vanessa in the elevator, kissing. The timestamp in the corner, 11:38 p.m. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Wait, Daniel started, reaching for me. The second video played. Them stumbling into the hallway, his hands on her, the door closing behind them. Someone in the audience shouted. I heard Vanessa's mother scream her name. Then the security footage, clear, undeniable, time-stamped. The text message, make sure nobody saw us, delete everything. The receipt for 2 champagnes. And finally, the audio from Becca's third video. Vanessa's voice, crystal clear. I can't believe we're doing this again. The room exploded. People were standing, shouting, filming on their phones. Daniel grabbed my arm. Becca, please, this isn't. I pulled away. Don't touch me. Vanessa was already running toward the exit. her mother chasing after her, screaming. Daniel's father stood up in the front row, his face bright red. He said something to his wife, then walked out without looking back. Daniel's mother was crying, covering her face with her hands. My mother rushed toward me, but I held up my hand. "I'm okay, Mom." The officiant stood frozen, clearly having no idea what to do. I turned to Daniel. He was standing there, his face white, his mouth opening and closing like he couldn't find words. "How could you do this?" he finally whispered. I almost laughed. "How could I do this? Are you serious right now?" "You humiliated me in front of everyone," he said, his voice rising. "You didn't even give me a chance to explain." "Explain what?" I snapped. "That you spent the night before our wedding sleeping with my best friend, that this wasn't the first time." "What exactly do you want to explain, Daniel?" He had no answer. Around us, guests were filming everything. I could see phone screens everywhere, recording, posting. This was going to be everywhere by tonight. Daniel tried to grab my hand again. "Please, can we just talk about this privately? We can fix this." "There's nothing to fix." My voice was calm now, steady. "It's over." "Becca, please." He was crying now, full-on sobbing. "I made a mistake. I love you. I want to marry you. Please don't do this." I pulled the engagement ring off my finger. It felt lighter than I expected. "You don't get to cry," I said quietly. "You don't get to play the victim here. You did this. You and Vanessa, you made your choice." I held out the ring. He stared at it, then at me, his face crumbling. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." "I know you are," I said, "but sorry doesn't fix this." I placed the ring in his hand, closed his fingers around it, and walked down the aisle. This time, no one was watching me like a bride. They were watching me like a woman who just won. Outside the venue, the late afternoon sun was blinding. I stood on the steps, still in my wedding dress, and took a deep breath. Becca came running out behind me. "Are you okay?" "I'm perfect," I said, and I meant it. My phone was already blowing up. Texts from people who'd been in the audience. Messages from people who'd seen the videos online already. Apparently, someone had recorded the whole thing and posted it. Within an hour, it was trending. "Bride exposes cheating groom at the altar" was the top headline. The comments were flooded with support. Thousands of people calling me brave, strong, iconic. And buried in the chaos, I saw one comment that made me smile. His boss was sitting in the front row. That man's career is over. I looked up. Daniel's boss had been there. I'd seen him stand up and walk out. Daniel worked in finance. His firm had a strict morals clause. This was going to ruin him. I was sitting on a bench outside the hotel, scrolling through my phone, when I heard footsteps behind me. It was Daniel. He looked destroyed. His tie was gone. His shirt was untucked. His eyes were red and swollen. "Becca," he said, his voice hoarse, "please just talk to me." I looked up at him. "What do you want me to say?" "I don't know. Anything, just don't leave like this." "Like what?" I asked. "Like someone who deserves better." He flinched. "You humiliated me," he said quietly. "In front of everyone, my family, my boss, everyone." "You humiliated yourself," I corrected. "I just showed people who you really are." He sank down onto the bench next to me, his head in his hands. "I don't know what I was thinking. I love you. I've always loved you." "No," I said. "You loved the idea of me. You loved having someone who supported you, who planned a life with you, who believed in you. But you didn't love me enough to be faithful." He sobbed into his hands. I stood up, smoothing my dress. "Goodbye, Daniel." "Wait," he choked out. "What am I supposed to do now?" I looked down at him. "I don't know, but it's not my problem anymore." I left the hotel with Becca by my side. We didn't go to the reception. We didn't go back inside. We just walked to my car, and I drove us to a diner across town. We sat in a booth, still in our dresses, and ordered fries and milkshakes. "You're my hero," Becca said, grinning. "You know that, right?" I laughed. For the first time all day, I actually laughed. My phone kept buzzing, messages of support. friends checking in, my mom asking if I was okay. And then, buried in the notifications, I saw an email. The subject line read, "Job opportunity, interested." It was from a company I'd applied to months ago, a position in New York, better pay, better title, a completely fresh start. I opened the email and read it twice. They wanted to interview me next week. I looked at Becca. "I think I'm moving to New York." She raised her milkshake. "To new beginnings." I clinked my glass against hers, and for the first time in 24 hours, I felt free.